विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी जगतगुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की नित्य लीला प्रविष्णु विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शताष्ट श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ षट गोस्वामी की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। द मोस्ट मर्सिफुल लॉर्डशिप्स श्री श्री किशोर किशोरी की जय। परम करुणा श्री श्री गौर निताय की जय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्र महारानी की जय। गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय। युग धर्म श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। श्री हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। समावेत भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Come.
Namaste Narashimaya. Bala bala balayine. Hiranyakashi Puvaksaha. Shivapankana Kalaye Idona Shima Paratona Shima Yato Yato Yamita Tona Shima Bahina Shima Hidayana Shima Narashima Marin Sharanam Prabhyate Tavatara Kamalavare Nakam Advuta Shringyam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanuvringam Keshavadeta Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Nrsimhadev Jaya, Nrsimhadev Jaya, Nrsimhadev Jaya, Nrsimhadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. बोलो श्री श्री नृसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, गौरा प्रेमानंदे.
Please repeat after me. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. On behalf of ISKCON Chicago and our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, I would like to welcome each and every one of you for our Sunday Feast program. A special welcome to the students of Lake Forest College. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there anybody here for the very first time? So, I see a lot of hands. We have a small gift for you. May I invite you to kindly come forward? Thank you so much. We have a program like this every Sunday, so I would like to invite you to come in future as well. Our calendar, on Saturday, we are having our monthly Sankirtan festival, where we go out on the streets of Chicago and distribute the message of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada books. We will be sending you the details very soon. Please look for an email from Acharya Nishta Prabhu with the details of our program. On Tuesday, April 8th, we'll be celebrating the appearance day of Lord Ramachandra. That will be in the evening. We'll have Abhishek and a nice interesting program for you. There are some sponsorship opportunities for those who would like to sponsor. There's a dress, flowers, garlands, so on and so feast. You may contact the gift store if you are interested in sponsoring. On May 10th, in our Naperville Center is organizing a Nam Yajna festival on 10th of May in the evening. It will be at a Celebration Campus in Naperville. The details will be there on our website as well as the flyer is there outside. You can look for this. There will be some small donation tickets which will be available also at gift store, and we encourage you to kindly buy them.
This will be led by His Holiness B.B. Govindaswamy with a group of devotees from Kazakhstan. Today's class will be given by His Grace Yadavacharya Prabhu. Let's welcome him with a loud Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Another news which I have to share with you, you may not have seen our President Nityanand Pran Prabhu so often in the temple during last couple of months. The reason was he had been attending to his ailing father in India. On last Thursday morning, his father left this world. He left his body. It's sad in some ways, but the circumstances in which he left, they are very, very auspicious. Prabhuji, Himangi Mataji, and Prahlad Narasimhan, they left from here as soon as they heard that he is not too well, and they were with him at his last time. Also, it was Ekadashi, morning 6:15, he left his body, which is considered a very, very auspicious time. To pray to Lord Krishna that he engages the departed soul in his service, please chant with me 3 times the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you. Let's get ready for the class. Please make sure that your cell phones are switched off. If you have your small children here with you, please make sure that they are not disturbing the class. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
So many people. जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी गोपी जनबालवा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजनवल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोरनंदन व्रजजनरंजन यशोरनंदन व्रजजनरंजन यमुनतीरावनचारी यमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo. Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora Haribo. Om Agyanatimirandasya Jananjana Shalakala Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasma Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Padati Svapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Make notes, it's Kali Yuga, I can't remember things very well, so nice to have notes. So as you heard earlier, we're going to be celebrating a special occasion. It's Lord Ramachandra's appearance day. And for those that are new, I'll try to explain a little bit who Lord Ramachandra is. All through history, since time immemorial, either Krishna or God comes down, or his devotees, his disciples, his son. There's different names. But all through history, somebody comes down, and their purpose is to teach people how to get back to their original constitutional position, which is we call Krishna consciousness or God consciousness. The problem in societies is, or the problem with this material world, is that the material energy is so strong that when we fall from the spiritual world into this material world, we end up getting covered over. And the covered over part means we end up getting influenced by three modes of nature: mode of goodness, mode of passion, of ignorance, or ignorance. These are the three modes that affect us. In other words, what happens is we get covered over to the point where we forget who we are and who God is. So the purpose of these individuals, they come down to teach us what our original constitutional position is and what we should do to reawaken that position or that consciousness. We say Krishna consciousness because what happens is at this point, our consciousness is covered over by material energy. Means we don't know who we are. If I was to ask you who you are, mostly in general the devotees that are more familiar, they're reawakening their position, so they will say, Aham Brahmasmi, I am the soul, I am spirit soul, or I am Das or servant of Krishna. But in general, if you ask someone, who are you, sir, they will say, I am Mr. This and I am Mr. That, Mr. Smith. And I'm a householder, I'm a family man, I'm this and that. So these are designation of this material world. The reality is that you actually are a little tiny spark, spiritual spark. And somehow or other, we've desired to enjoy or lord it over. In a sense, we want it to be God. Why is God enjoying and why can't I enjoy like that? And the problem with that kind of consciousness is that you cannot stay in the spiritual world with that kind of consciousness, so you fall down. So Krishna, creates this material energy for the living entity to come down and try to lord it over. But the reality, you can't. So we struggle to do that. We want to be supreme, we want to be the most beautiful, we want to be the most intelligent. These are struggles of this material world. And we can't achieve that. You cannot achieve that. Being a pure spirit soul, we are so happy, powerful, and intelligent that the limitation of this material body stops us from achieving that that state of consciousness. So what happens is this individuals, whether it's, so many, we have Jesus, Buddha, Jehovah, yes, so many come. And they try to teach. According to time and circumstance, they teach differently. But what they try to do is try to get the individual to revive his original consciousness. And that is what the purpose of us being here is. The purpose of me speaking is to get you to understand that there is another reality, and not just my little life, especially for those that are new. You can go to many religious functions or I've been through so many religious functions, you can say, church, synagogues. I've spoken so many. And very rarely somebody will just come straight out and say, "You're not the body." And freak you out. "Okay, I'm not the body." Nobody will tell you that. It's the truth. But if you come here, that's the first thing you will learn. I am not the body. So intelligence will tell you, if I'm not the body, who am I? And that's what we're here for. We're here to tell you, who you are and what the purpose of life is. I mean, most of the devotees heard this. This is Sunday feast, so I'll try to keep it as practical, especially for the students, as practical as possible. Well, this incarnation, this festival that we're going to celebrate, this incarnation is, it's the seventh incarnation of Krishna. Krishna comes down millennium after millennium, and he says this, "I come down millennium after millennium." And anytime there was a decline in religion, decline in religious principles, he descends himself, or someone comes, like Srila Prabhupada. There's devotees that volunteer, like Christ volunteered. He volunteered to come. "I will come and I will teach." And unfortunately, nobody's listening. I mean, he taught as purely as any other pure soul. But very few people listen. And even now, there are certain laws that you have to follow to awaken your original consciousness. So, and nobody follows these laws. Like there's so many. Oh, yeah, I hear this, and I don't mean to be. Anybody that knows me, will say I don't say this to be critical, but so many Christians. I work with Christians all the time, Catholics, Christians, few Jews, and if you ask them, what is religion? They all have their own little philosophies on what religion is, and they'll tell you all kinds of things. But the reality is that what religion means following the laws or abiding by the laws of God. That's what religion means. The term religion means following the orders of God, abiding by the laws. So then you ask them, what are the laws? Now, Catholics and Christians have 10 laws, which is not that many. 10 laws is really not that many. If you go, the state has how many laws? So 10 laws are not that many, but yet very few follow them. Very few even know what they are. If you ask them, what are the 10 commandments? Very few people will know all 10 commandments. What to speak of. If you don't know them, how you follow, what to speak of follow. They pick out, I like this, I like this. We have 4 commandments. And those 4 commandments, all the 10 commandments are within these 4 commandments. One time I was at work and we're all working together and we spoke together. And I spoke with Christians because they're all Christian. So I asked, what are the 10 commandments? And between the whole group, there was a whole table. We needed the whole table. I don't remember them because, I was just as much of a Catholic as the rest of them. They don't remember. But, but between all of us, we figured out what the 10 commandments were. But it took a whole group of people to figure out what the 10 commandments are. We follow 4 commandments. No meat eating, fish or eggs, no illicit sex life, no gambling, no intoxication. Anybody that follows those will purify their life like that very, very fast. And I've seen this. I've seen people that were... I joined the temple in the 70s. And there was a lot of crazy people in the 70s. Well, wait till they legalize pot. There'll be a lot more crazy. It's coming back. But there was a lot of crazy people, and I've seen people that were. If you took them to a psychiatrist, they would say they're insane. They were certified insane, and they would stay in the temple for a certain length of time, and the change came very, very fast, and they became very, very nice devotees. Became ideal humans, you can call them. Became very, very nice devotees. I've seen many things in my time, getting older, so I've seen a lot of things. Anyway, let me go back to Lord Ramachandra. So Lord Ramachandra came down, and he came down to teach the people how to be an ideal leader, which we really need these days. We have very few ideal leaders. And in order to be, an ideal leader, you have to know these principles, who you are, who God is, what is the purpose of all the living entities, and how to keep them happy, in a sense. Because ultimately, that's what we look for. We look for happiness. We look for love. Why would we work so hard? We work so hard to be happy. The problem is, if you look around, few people are happy, and there's a little bit of sense gratification, a little bit of intoxication, a little bit of sex. So you get a little bit of pleasure there, but the rest of the time, I gotta go to work. I gotta scrape my windows. I hate scraping my windows, and you guys heard this many times. I wake up in the morning, I go out here, and I have to go to work to scrape the ice off my windows. Krishna, I dread that. I don't know why. I shouldn't, but I dread that. But that's the reality. The reality is that you get a little bit of pleasure. The rest of it is very, very uncomfortable position that we are in. We are not meant to do this. We are meant to be happy. So what happens when you get an ideal leader, an ideal king or president, or, what they do is they set up a society in such a way where everybody can be happy. That's a fact. And as a matter of fact, Prabhupada actually mentioned this. I have a quote. I wrote a quote down, which is amazing, what Prabhupada said, and I will try to read that later on. But the reality is, if you get an ideal leaders, you can change the whole world. You can change people, and the people actually will be happy without any force. You don't have to give up anything. Especially in this age. We are very, very fortunate in this age. In most ages, they had big fire sacrifices, and you had to, it was just so much opulence you had to have to do these sacrifices in order to get, to please the demigods. So they would provide rain, so there would be, cows would give milk, and there would be foodstuffs, and so that was there. In this age, we cannot do this. We don't have the means to do this, nor the intelligence to actually chant the mantras properly. I mean, back then they can actually, do sacrifices, even animal sacrifices, and it would take the animal out of there. They would give him a better birth. Now we cannot chant Vedic mantras. I mean, I've done it for so many years, and I mumble and stumble, and I make mistakes. Like earlier, I made a mistake. So we are definitely not qualified, and Krishna knows this. So when Lord Ramachandra came down, he came down it was such a Treta Yuga. It was a different age, and at that age, people were still very religious, and things were actually very nice at that time. They weren't so bad, but yet even at that time, there was demons trying to make disturbances. But so when Lord Ramachandra came down, he came down to show how you can have a perfect society. A perfect society, and that he showed by his own example. So, maybe I should go to my notes. So, like I said, it was a different age. Treta Yuga was about, I think it was like 2 million years ago. 2 million years ago. So that was a little while back, and. So it was a different age. So Prabhupada explains that whenever an individual comes down, whenever Krishna comes down, he comes down for 3 purposes. I hope I don't. If I mess it up, can someone please correct me? Because my mind, too much 70, so I don't have, But when Krishna comes down, usually he comes down for 3 purposes. One of them is to give pleasure to the devotees, to associate with his devotees. This is pretty much the main reason why Krishna comes down. Krishna could, he it's not that he favors the devotees, but what happened is just like if you have two children, and and one child's very favorable and the other one is not. You love them both, but you have a tendency to not so much favor, but to relate to that individual accordingly. So he comes down for that purpose. Another purpose is to annihilate demons, to kill the demons, or kill the demoniac mentality. Back then, the kings, when a king come down, they would just kill them. They wouldn't waste their time. If they were demoniac, they would just kill them. And by that killing, they actually were doing them a favor. We think killing, oh boy, we actually, now it's like we've gotten a little bit too mushy. This society like this, the society has gotten very, very weak. And because of that, we have so many problems. They should be a lot stricter. And I'll probably be criticized for this, but I don't care. There's, jails are full. Why are they full? Because they allow people to be nonsense. Back in those days, Krishna would come down, just kill him, and give him a better birth. He would liberate them. He actually give him a liberation. Whenever Krishna kills, he doesn't kill and then, that's it. What happens is when he kills them, he actually gives them liberation. So they actually get a better situation than they are in. Liberation means they don't have to take birth. Problem is we take birth over and over again. You've had so many bodies. It is said that before you get a human form of life, you go through 8 million species of life. So imagine how many births we already had. So now that we have this human form, I am very, very happy to see so many people here. So many people. And the devotees, I've seen really nice changes in this temple. This temple has become so alive and inspiring to me. So this is very nice. I've seen really nice changes here. So that's good. And that's, and as you saw, it's fun. This is not like your normal church. Stand up, amen, kneel down, oh, my knees. It's, I'm a Catholic. What's that?
Is it better than 1970s or it's worse?
Well, I can tell you one thing, my knees are worse than the 70s. No, this is, the 70s were good because Prabhupada came. Srila Prabhupada started a revolution. You can't stop this now. This is why so many are coming, and so many more are coming. I actually went to a Catholic church with Mom every so often. I go with Mom, pay my respects. I was very surprised that they actually had musicians and they were singing, chanting hymns. I was very surprised because the Catholic Church is like a very stuffed shirt, as we say. They don't. And so it's already starting to change. And eventually it'll come where everybody will be chanting Hare Krishna. There'll be so many people chanting Hare Krishna. It's already predicted. So the prediction's already there. What's going to happen? So jump aboard, come with us. Chant and dance, be happy. Like Prabhupada said, come, chant, dance, take prasadam, be happy. This process is very simple. We are given a very simple process in this age. So I keep drifting off. Let's go back to Lord Ramachandra. So when Lord Ramachandra comes down, when he comes down with when Krishna comes down in any incarnation, any avatar that comes down, when Krishna comes down, he comes down with all his paraphernalia, all his, so many of his associates also come down. And plus he expands himself. Pretty much, he expands himself so many times, he can do that. And so when he came and so many of the devotees, and Lord Sita, everybody knows Sita. This is probably one of the most popular epic that, in India. They love Lord Ram. And and we always say Sita Ram, and Sita came down, which is his consort, it's his pleasure potency. She comes down to engage in those pastimes. So when he ascended to this planet, I'll go through this a little bit fast. We have limited amount of time, but if you can, please get a Ramayana. it's such a wonderful. I mean, it's the story, the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. You know, there's fighting, there's love, there's separation, everything you want to churn those emotions, and you know, it's all there. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. So you should, if you can, please pick one up and read it. So at one point, I'm going to jump around a little bit. I'll piece it together. So the way, so Sita, when Sita came for the purpose to associate with Ram. So in the old days, they would have this big ceremony that they would do, and all the princes, you know, the big kshatras, the warriors, the princesses would come, and there would be like a challenge, and they would have to, you know, they would challenge each other. There was certain challenges they would do, like, you know, like they have shows on TV now, challenges. I don't know what they are, but I've seen them, some of them, you know. But so they had a ceremony where you win the princess's hand. So all these warriors would come there, and what happens is the process was there was a huge bow, and anybody that could pick this bow up and string it and shoot would win the Sita's hand. So all these great, powerful warriors would come, and some of them couldn't even lift this bow. This bow was like it's described that 300 men had to pick this bow up. So I'll give you an idea on how heavy and how what to speak of actually string it. I don't know if any of you have strung a bow. It's very difficult to do that. So anyway, all these princes would come, and they try to string this bow, and they couldn't do it. And the reason is because Krishna, you know, when Lakshmi came as Sita, she can only associate with Krishna, cannot have association with anybody else. So what happens is, anyway, there's so many that tried, they couldn't do it. Ram went up there, all he do is picked up the bow, strung the bow, and when he pulled it, he actually was so powerful that he cracked it in half, he broke it in half. So Sita garlanded him, and she became his wife. But when she became his wife, there's a nice story when Ram and Sita were going to their house. They actually met Parashuram. You guys know Parashuram was a great warrior. Parashuram was a great warrior, and this is how Krishna shows that he's not an ordinary individual. This is how he engages in his pastimes, because most of these warriors, they could not be defeated. So Krishna always shows he acts like a man, he acts like a regular man to show how we should live, but at the same time, he is Krishna, so he's the most powerful. So what happened is he met Parashuram, and Parashuram was so powerful that he annihilated, if I remember, I think it was like 21 generations of warrior kings, wiped them out, because they were degraded. Unfortunately, the purpose of a king, the purpose of a leader, he has to be very, very pure. And when he's pure, he can understand, when his heart is pure and his mind is pure, he can understand what is right and what is wrong. Anybody that's contaminated in some form, it's very difficult for them to understand what is right and what is wrong. And if you don't know what is right and what is wrong, how can you judge? How can you make a judgment? So they have to be pure. So kings in general were especially empowered by Krishna to do that function, to be that function. So they had to be perfect individuals in order to do that. So anyway, Parashuram was a great warrior. I mean, he super powerful, and he actually challenged Lord Ram, and Ram defeated him very easily. And then when he defeated him, he just surrendered to him. He says, "Now I understand you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead." And this is how Krishna, this is how Krishna shows us that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and what we should do, and how we should, act in that sense. Another nice story about Ram. Well, at one point, what happened is Dasarath was the father of Lord Ramachandra. And kings take on more than one wives. I don't know how they dealt with it because it's hard with one wife nowadays. It's married, so knows. But they could take on many wives because they can maintain them, they can support them. If you can maintain more than one wife, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not advisable in this age. One wife will drive you crazy. Just kidding. I get email. You're the demon you were talking about. Anyway, what was I talking about? God, I drifted. I shouldn't have said that. I can feel my wife's eyes. No. Now I'm really in trouble. Ram. What happened is the kings could take on many wives. But, King Dasarath had 3 wives. And, anytime with women or anybody else, even when you have kids, you always have favorites. That's just how it happens. So what happened is his second or third wife? I forgot. Kaikeyi was his second wife. So Kaikeyi was his favorite wife. So he was so compassionate to her, or so loving to her, he was so attached to her that he made a vow. He says, anything you want, you ask, and I will give you. So what happened when it came time for, in the old system, the oldest king always took over the king's position. The oldest son would always take over the family position. So what happened is Lord Ramachandra was the oldest son. And so he was supposed to become the king, so when it came time for him, he was old enough, and it came time for him to take over. What happened is the second wife, she had a son by the king, and his name was Bharat, and she became disturbed that her son's not going to become a king. So what she did, she went to him and she asked him, so you promised that you will fulfill any desire that I have. So my desire is that you make Bharat the king. Instead of Ram, you make my son the king. And when the king gave an order, when the kshatriya gives an order, he never goes back on his order. And this is one of the things that's really nice about having a saintly person rule, is that he will never be hypocritical. He won't go back on his word. And this is very important. Anybody that takes the position of a leader, it's better that they leave with shame than sit there and break their word. If they give their word, the word should stick. We don't, unfortunately, we're living in Kali Yuga, so now we don't have that. But, and because he did give his word, so he was very distressed. He was so depressed that he has to fulfill this desire because he loved Ram so much. So, and when Ram found out what happened, he said that is good. He said, I will give him the position of king. He said, I will go. And another stipulation was that Ram would be banned to the forest for 14 years. You can imagine what, to a father to have his son go away, especially for, as long as that time, 14 years, it was heart-wrenching for him because he was so attached. But what could he do? But when Ram found out, he immediately said, I will do it, I'll go to the forest, and he immediately left. This is the heart of a kshatriya. And when he decided to go, of course, Sita was so chaste, she was so loving towards him that she went. And his younger brother, Lakshman, also went. Well, Bharat was so distressed about this whole thing, he just couldn't see how this could happen. So what he did is when Lord Ram left, he went to the forest and he was begging him, please, you come back. I cannot do this. Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to do this. So he begged him to come back, and he says, no, I have given my word, I cannot go back. So what Bharat did, he says, then let me take your shoes. And he took his shoes and he put him on, he never sat on a throne. He put him on a throne and he waited for 14 years till Ram comes back and takes that position. So this is the kind of love that he had for him. And but he did rule the kingdom very nicely. And anyway, Lord Ramachandra spent 14 years in a forest. And in a forest, there's always demons, and there's a lot of demons that were living in a forest. And so there's many pastimes of the of the different situations that they got themselves into. Anyway, there was this great, big, he was very demoniac king, powerful, Ravana. Ravana was a very powerful demon. I mean, even the demigods, when he would stomp his foot, even the demigods were scared. He was very powerful. And like I said earlier, whenever Krishna comes down, he comes down to fulfill certain purposes. And one of them was to get rid of Ravana, and establish a religious order again. So at one point there was he was a Rakshasa. I mean, he was a demon, and he had a demoniac sister. She was a Rakshasi. So what happened is, in the forest, I'll make this real quick. In a forest, she became attracted to Ram. So, and Ram was already married, and there was a whole other situation. Well, what happened is Ram ended up cutting off her nose and her ears because she was so envious. She became envious because she felt that because of Sita was so beautiful, and he was attached to Sita, so that's why he wasn't attracted to her. So she wanted to attack Sita. So Lord Ramachandra cut off her nose and cut off her ears. Must have been fun. And what happened, she was so she got angry, ran to Ravana, told Ravana, this rascal, cut off he deformed me. So Ravana got very upset, but the biggest thing that the way she enticed him, she said that Ram's wife, Sita, is so beautiful. You have to see her. And what happened is, because he was very lusty individual, he became attracted just from hearing about Sita. He became attracted to her. So he wanted to enjoy her for himself. So he came up with this plan. He had this, now we call them magicians, but he had this individual. He was a mystic. So he told them, you go there and distract Ram, so I can kidnap Sita. So this magician did this. He went there and he turned himself into a golden deer, and he went prancing around and stuff in that. So what happened is, when Sita saw it, she became very attracted to this deer. So she asked Ram, please, you catch it for me. And Ram was hesitating. He said, no, this is something's wrong. I mean, there is golden deer that just don't appear like this. So he but she insisted. So he, just like a woman will always insist, so he said, okay, I will go catch it. So when he went to catch this deer, what happened is Ravana came and he snatched Sita. He sorry. So this rascal came and he kidnapped Sita. Well, the thing is normally when an individual would do that, they force themselves on him, but he couldn't force himself on Sita. So he had to beg her, please, you surrender to me, you surrender to him. Because what happened is, he was cursed that if he forces himself on any woman, that he would die. So he couldn't force himself. So he kept her, he kept her a captive. So there was this one individual called Hanuman. He was a monkey, a general monkey. big, powerful. I love Hanuman. You have to read this story. I'm not very good in telling. You have to read this. If you get an opportunity, please read this. Anyway, Hanuman, Ram sent Hanuman, find Sita. So Hanuman searched and searched and searched. Well, finally he found Sita. He found it in Ravana's kingdom. Sita was there. And you know, he was going to go inform Ram that I found Sita. Well, what happened is Ravana's soldiers ended up capturing him. And when they captured him, don't talk about me. When they captured him, you know, they ended up and they thought, what are we going to do with this monkey? You know, so they decided, what's the most precious thing on a monkey is his tail. So they said, let's light his tail on fire. So they did. They lit his tail on fire. When they lit his tail on fire, Hanuman thought, let me use this in Krishna's service. So he went running around his kingdom. He just started burning everything up. Just, you know, torched everything. Anyway, I keep going with the story. So eventually he went and told Ram that Sita was, you know, that Ravana has kidnapped Sita, that Sita was there. So what happened is he said he went to the ocean, and Ravana's kingdom was on another island, I guess you can say. And so what happened is Ram wanted he had to cross the ocean in order to get there. But how do you cross an ocean? So he went to the ocean and he sat there and he was asking the ocean, you come, I need you to give me passageway, you know, so I can go. And the ocean didn't come. So he started getting really angry. And when he got angry, he got so angry that they said that all the living entities within the ocean started trembling and scared, and she became scared and said, oh my God, this is God, I better go and see him. She realized that this is Krishna incarnated, you know, that Krishna came down. So she came and she said, I am really sorry, I didn't realize who you were. She said, I'll give you a passageway. She said, get the monkeys to throw boulders, big boulders in the ocean, and you can cross this way. So all the monkeys would bring big boulders, you know, Hanuman, Jambavan, there was, you know, and they would bring big boulders and they would throw it. And what happens is they would come and they offer it at Lord Ram's feet. And when they would place it at Ram's feet and they would throw it in the ocean, the stones would float. And as a matter of fact, if you go to India, there's a certain part where there's still, part of it, there was still a bridge, there were still stones, and they actually found stones that float. I don't know if that's a part of it, but I saw it on YouTube. You know, and they actually had stones that floated. I don't know if that's part of it. But Krishna can do that. He can do anything. So what happened is he made these stones float. And they said from the satellites, they can actually see the bridge. The bridge is still there. They're starting to find these things, just like they found Mathura, you know, so at the city Mathura. So they're starting to find these things. They're actually proving that like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata are actually true. So what happened is with this bridge and with the monkey king, you know, the king of monkeys and all the monkeys went and fought with Ravana. And ultimately, I know I'm running out of time, so I'm trying to speed this thing up. You know, so what happened is eventually there was a great battle took place between Ravana and Ram, and Ram ended up shot an arrow, pierced Ravana's heart. And they said when the arrow pierced Ravana's heart, Ravana had 10 heads. Give you an idea how powerful they were. They were so powerful. Ravana he had such powers that he could make he had a palace that could float. He would fly in this palace, you know. So he was very powerful. Anyway, Lord Ramachandra ended up actually killed him, and when he killed him, they said that he vomited blood out of all 10 heads. There's some things I promised you that you know, there's so many things. I mean, you can't, you know, I want to say so many things that I'm not saying almost anything. I feel like I'm not saying anything. I feel so bad I apologize for that. There's so much I would like to, but unfortunately, limited for time. But there's a nice story about Chitayu, and Chitayu was a bird that was trying to stop Ravana from taking Sita, and he ended up killing him also. But what happens, Lord Ramachandra was when he came, he was so angry. He was actually, he felt so devastated from separation from Sita. And there was a whole, anytime Krishna does anything, there is a significance, a purpose for it. So I'm telling you like a story, and it's really not, it's not like that. You have to read and read the purports, like Prabhupada would tell you purports on what the meaning of it is. And, which is very, very important. Whenever Krishna does, like when the separation that Ram felt from Sita, he was showing us how material attachments bind us. Like when we lose someone that we love, we give this great attachment. We feel that separation from them. Well, there's two kinds. There's Ladini Shakti, which is spiritual love, and there's material love. We call it love, but the reality is it's not love. It's just lust. It's lust, and that's another subject matter. You keep coming, and someday I will explain. But please come. It's important that you come. Please come and dance. Come and dance, eat, take prasadam. This is very nice. So, this is one point that so many I like to do, but this is one point that I really like to stress. Back in those, back in different ages, when Krishna comes, to this, when he descends to this planet, he engages in certain pastimes for that time. In this age, Krishna also came. 5,000 years ago, Krishna came, and Krishna said, "Please surrender to me, and then your life will be sublime." Well, people forget. So nobody surrendered, or they had a hard time surrendering. Few did, but they had a hard time surrendering. So what happened is Krishna came down again. He came as Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya, as you saw on the altar, we had Radhan Krishna, which is in the center. Kishori is in the center. Lord Chaitanya is the one on the left-hand side. Lord Jagannath is on the right. Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. But Lord Krishna and Radharani, what happens is there's a whole, it's like anytime you say something, there's a whole story behind it, why it happens. So what happened is Krishna wanted to taste. He wanted to know, how is it that Radharani loves me so much? I want to taste that. So what he did is he combined himself, and that combination, he incarnated, or came down to this as Lord Chaitanya. And he came down, it was like 500 years ago, which was, we always say 500 years ago. We've been saying that since the 70s. But give and take, next to thousands and, eternity, roughly about 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya came. And he taught us the religious process for this age. Back in those days, like I mentioned before, they would do great sacrifices and stuff, which we can't do now. But what we can do is we can chant Hare Krishna. And Prabhupada actually mentions that this chanting Hare Krishna is like performing great sacrifices in previous ages. So this is very, very important, very important process. It might seem simple. We dance, we chant, we laugh. It might seem simple. But at the same time, that process itself will purify you to the point where you can go back to Godhead. And that's what we want to do. To stay here, some things are nice, but to stay here, actually, to keep taking birth and death over and over again is very, very, it's actually unpleasant. So we can go to a place that's eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss, full of happiness. You don't have to worry about anything, And as a matter of fact, when Lord Ramachandra came to this planet, he established religiosity to such a point that what happened is, even it got to the point that people became so pure, and there was so much benediction that if they would only die if they wanted to die. If they chose not to die, they didn't die. Imagine that. Imagine being imagine being in a situation where you choose whether you want to die or not. That's not including all the other ones. You didn't want to sleep, you didn't have to sleep. You were never tired. You never were in anxiety. Oh, I got to go to work. Or, there was no anxiety, absolutely no anxiety. And this is the age. And actually, the age before that, that's what the age was like. Treta Yuga, that age wasn't it. But as long as Lord Ramachandra was the ruler, that's what was happening at that time. And now we've gotten so degraded that in this age we don't have that. So it's very important that we gather together and chant Hare Krishna so we can purify the place, so we can end up having a nicer place to live. They say, the Christians say heaven on earth. We can make heaven on earth. That can happen very easily. You just have to chant Hare Krishna sincerely. And I can, there's quotes that, I wrote down some quotes that, this is a quote in a purport that Prabhupada, I found this in a purport. It says, Krishna descends in Kali Yuga in the form of his holy name. If we chant offenselessly, Ram and Krishna are still present in this age. This is a very, very important quote. So what Prabhupada is saying, that Lord Ramachandra and Krishna are still here, but they're here in the holy name. All the properties, all the energy that Krishna possesses is in the holy name. The only problem is we don't have a taste for it. But the individuals and the devotees that ended up, sincerely chanting and getting a taste for it, they actually can feel Krishna. You can have personal relationship with God, and this is all religions say this. Follow those rules and regulations, purify yourself, purify your heart. When your heart is pure, Krishna will come and sit in that heart, and you can have a personal relationship with him. You will see him, you will feel him, you can smell him. Devotees, I've heard stories about devotees, especially, there's a lot of things that happen in India. Every time I go to India, there's something really wonderful happens to me. That's why I love going there, because it's in that intensity. India is very intense. If you haven't been in India, go to India. It's intense. I mean, it will wake you right up. But you have this intensity of this material world, and then you have a spiritual world within. It's like one. You end up tasting both in the same place. And I've heard people say that they would smell things like, smells that they could never even imagine, existed. I mean, just different things. This is just an example that I'm giving. Am I going over? Yes? I always go over. I'm sorry. I can't stop. I'm going over today too. That's why once in a while you only ask me to speak, and I understand that. But there's so much nectar. What I'm really trying to. I'm not very good in doing this, and I apologize. But what I'm trying to, if I can get you to understand one thing, this is the most tasteful, wonderful thing you will ever taste in your whole life. If I could have the power to just zap, and get you to taste even just the spark of what it's like, the pleasure that you will feel having that relationship with Krishna or Ram or Lord Chaitanya, anyone you wish, you choose the ones that you like, develop very strong, loving attachment to that. And the best way to do it is the holy name, by chanting Hare Krishna. But if you can do that, you will get a taste. Krishna is that merciful. And you don't have to have any qualification. This is the wonderful thing about this age. You don't have to have any special qualification to get that taste. This is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya came and he says, forget all that. You guys are just so slow in the head. You can't do it. We don't have facilities. So what I will do is I will open the doors. please just take this holy name and you will get a taste. And I can 100% guarantee you, and I'll give you anything I own, not much, but I'll give you anything I own, and I'll go and I'll serve you. If you come here every Sunday, and if you participate in chanting Hare Krishna, and if you participate in associating with the devotees, and if you participate in taking prasadam, if you come here on regular basis, and you don't become like the rest of these, you don't have to shave your head, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, look at me. I mean, I'm a householder, I work for, I live pretty much a regular life, but what happened, the point I'm trying to stress is you come on regular basis, you chant Hare Krishna on a regular basis, you come here on a regular basis, associate with the devotees, and I will guarantee that you will get a taste. And when you get a taste, the heart will melt. And when your heart melts, when it becomes purified, and when it becomes soft, then you will know what love is. Until then, you know what love ends up being? What can you do for me? That's not love. That's not love. I've had many relationships, and I've seen many relationships. And a relationship only lasts to a certain point. But what can you do for me? So please, take advantage of this. Please come, chant with us, dance with us, laugh with us, be happy, take prasadam. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Announce a vegetarian food stop on third floor.
Hare Krishna. I'm supposed to remind everybody that we have a feast upstairs. So please go upstairs, take some prasadam. That's the teacher. Tell him directly.
Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama. Can you sing with me? Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paskata Dishatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.